welcome to We Geek Podcast. Today is June 1st, 2017, and it is episode 102. My name is Adam, and I'm joined by my good friend Logan.
Hello.
What up? And how you doing, man? How's your week been?
Been good. Been busy with work and whatnot. Wanted to do a quick update. Our new shirt is up. It is available for sale. We'll put the link in the show notes. We got it tweeted out yesterday. It's up on our page. But yeah, we'll put a link in the show notes. And it's cool, and I liked it. I think there's just one style of shirt. It's just like the one unisex shirt. There's also a coffee mug option if you want, and I think there's a sticker too. And I don't know what size. I think maybe it's most of a postcard size. I'm not sure. So I was like, yeah, what the hell? We'll throw them on there. You don't have to buy them. The thing with Teespring, because we're doing it through Teespring like we've done before. You set a goal of we have to sell this many pieces of merchandise in order for it to even get printed. Mm-hmm. Our goal is 25.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure, and I am positive, I'm very positive, which means I could still be wrong, that it's by pieces of merchandise and not by orders.
Okay.
Because that would be
That's
silly.
Good. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because I'm going to get a shirt, my girl's going to get a shirt, I know my mom's going to get a shirt, so that's 3. You'll get a shirt, that's 4.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I got a few people that want to get it as well.
Excellent. Yeah, we've got to
been asking about it.
Yeah, we've got to hit 25, or it won't print. They won't run it. The good news is the thing is for 3 weeks.
Awesome.
It runs for 3 weeks, which is I think through the 20th. It's whatever 3 weeks from this past Monday is. I think it's the 20th.
Sweet.
But so that's
man.
That's where it is. So you got 3 weeks. Come get your shirts. They are, I want to say $17 a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's I forget what the shipping is. I think it's either $2 something or $3.
Yeah.
But so most places that sell shirts, brand shirts of any kind, start at 20, 22, 25. But I'm
yeah, I looked at some Bullet Club shirts, man.
Yeah, they're $25, $30. It's kind of insane.
Oh yeah, and the price just goes up if you want a logo on the sleeve and then on the back, and
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Ours is real simple. We've got the logo that Keenan did on the front, which looks awesome on the shirt. It looks fantastic. And I did a little hashtag WGP100 across the back, up towards the top. It looks good. It looks. Yeah. I fiddled with that a little to see should it work, but it looked good. I wanted something on the back, but I didn't know what. But that works. It's not It's not too much. It looks good. And they're just black. They're just black shirts. We're not going crazy on the colors or anything.
Right.
So,
right. Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, I saw that. We'll also put a link to Keenan's page. And his Twitter and everything else, so you can get a hold of him. He's the guy that created the logo and just ran with it. We gave him some ideas, and he does such a great job. So look for that as well.
Yeah, he came back with some awesome stuff. I know when we first wanted a logo, and I don't think I think maybe you had some ideas and I had nothing, and he came back with some ideas that included the logo that we have, and we're just like, God damn it, that's awesome, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he did such a great job too.
And the 100th episode logo was great too. Put it in an NES cartridge and everything is badass.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought it was great. Yeah, the gold, because we're such a fan of that classic era of gaming, and there was something special about that Zelda cartridge.
Yeah, that's why I was so glad he put the blue on there.
Yeah.
So that just kept thinking was that was, it's funny you brought that up. That was what I was thinking. I was like, that would look awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, that's been fun. We got that up there. So definitely take a look at that. Get your loved one a mug, a t-shirt, sticker. Help us out. Absolutely. Let's see here, man. So yeah, you said you just been hanging out this week,
I pretty
working.
much, yeah, it's just work, more or less. Reading. I've been doing a lot of reading lately.
Yeah,
I'm
I,
I'm
I
slow.
unfortunately have not, and
Uh,
we'll get to that.
yeah, we were gonna talk about Thrawn, but somebody
Oh,
forgot.
I know, and it's
It
oh
happens.
man, we could spend a whole episode actually on Star Wars books, like a whole like as one of our topics,
Yeah.
and maybe lead in with Thrawn, but we'll talk about him today. But yeah, what have you been reading?
I read something that it was a recommendation they did on Script Notes. I don't know how long ago, because I'm still just burning through them from way back.
Right.
It's a book, and I can't remember the author. I can look it up real quick. It was a book called Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore,
Hmm.
and it's this kind of strange, sort of young adult thriller, kind of like it's definitely a thriller, but it's not like you wouldn't. Like this is perfect for like a middle schooler could read this.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's really interesting. Where is the damn Robin Sloan is the author,
Hmm.
and it's
Interesting.
interesting. It's a whole thing about there's obviously there's this 24-hour bookstore, and it's in San Francisco, and there's this little mystery behind it, and it entangles like people who work with Google and artists, and like it's this really interesting. It's just not a traditional, you know, hero must fight evil kind of thing, but it's not like really like high-minded or anything. It's it's
Oh, okay.
it's really interesting. And it took me a little bit to get into it because it does start kind of dry, but once I got rolling with it, like I just couldn't stop.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I just wrote it down.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
definitely worth a read. Definitely worth a read.
You know what I've been clamoring at wanting to read again? Now I'm gonna get through Thrawn. That's definitely what's on the docket.
Hmm.
After that, I want to go back to Name of the Wind.
Yeah,
It's been a while since I've read that, and
yeah.
I've been clamoring for it.
I'm trying to get my girlfriend to read it, but it's just it's hard to start a book.
Right.
Even if it's something that you're really looking forward to. One of the other things I read was the new Trials of Apollo that Rick Riordan wrote, and it was
Oh,
one
okay.
that it's like, oh, it's more of this series. That's awesome. It's like the 12th book in that whole Percy Jackson series, and I was like,
Oh,
cool.
okay.
I can't like I've been looking forward to it, but like I just couldn't start it. And then once I got rolling with it, I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, excuse me for a second, because I record next to the living room where she's sitting, and I would hate for her to hear me talk about how she's not been reading The Name of the Wind like she said she'd be.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I want to read that book again. This weekend, I went to MegaCon. Um,
Oh yeah, no
which was
shit.
oh yeah, which was a blast.
Nice.
It wasn't as awesome, I think, as Star Wars Celebration. Um, you could tell the difference with whoever runs these events. It was cool though. I mean, it was what was cool about this was more, where Star Wars is all about Star Wars and it's one thing focused. This one was more just everything, just like someone threw up nerddom, on everything. Um, but where do I start? I saw the kids from Stranger Things. I saw Data. Um, I saw I sat in on a panel, the DC Rebirth, which had uh, uh, who's the publisher of DC?
Dan DiDio.
Dan DiDio,
Yeah.
yes. Tom King, Scott Snyder, John Byrne, Amanda Connor, Jimmy Palmiotti. Basically the people that are on, Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn, Batman, All-Star Batman. Everyone knows Scott Snyder. He had the best stories. I don't know where we're at time with, so just remind me, Logan.
Five, yeah,
Um,
five and a half. We're good.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, and that was probably my favorite thing of the whole weekend. Just
Nice.
listening to Scott Snyder can tell a story. Not just in comics, but like he told a story about you remember his vampire book,
Yeah,
American
American
Vampire, that he
Vampire.
did?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He talks about the artist for that book, Raphael Albuquerque, I believe was his name, and he told a funny story about how he has to he his biggest goal, or not biggest goal, but one thing he does is he connects really well with the artist. Obviously Greg Capullo with Batman is like his brother. He kept calling him that. But he talked about Raphael where he told a funny story, and I'll be brief with it, but how when they were in New York, Raphael was supposed to stay at his friend's house. They were for like New York Comic Con, but they got the addresses mixed up, and he accidentally gave his parents' address, and his parents called Scott and was like, "Hey, your friend's here. Obviously there was a mix-up, but we don't mind. We've set him up in your bedroom." And his bedroom, of course, is like Scott Snyder, 16, or 17-year-old who left, and graduated high school, and he was like, it was just like just a time capsule. And he said they had a great weekend, and he woke up and made breakfast, and he sketched out artwork for them, and he had them pick out no, it wasn't sketched out. He had them pick out what artwork they want, and they said they picked out like a person getting like decapitated, and it was like they hang it up in their kitchen, next to like this super Americana thing, and like this like picture of New York City, and they hang it with pride because of how awesome their weekend was with the artist
Nice.
of them. And he just told all these just such interesting stories about the people he's got to work with and stuff like that. And I highly recommend, if you ever get a chance to go to these things, definitely go to the panels, because they're a lot of fun. They were a blast. Just hearing how Harley Quinn came about. Like they were in Orlando, and Dan was talking to a lot of the local people, and were like, man, we wish we had like a Deadpool. Marvel's really, the Deadpool sells like crazy over there. And they said someone local, and I have to imagine it was Aaron, was like, you have your Deadpool, it's Harley. Like, clearly, you could totally do that, and it didn't click until then. And so they looked over. I think he said like Jimmy or Amanda or one of them, and was like, "Hey, do you know Harley?" They're like, "Yeah, I know Harley." And I guess Jimmy Palmiotti also did Deadpool. I could be getting that wrong. And he was like, "Well, why don't you do that? Why don't you do like a Deadpool Harley Quinn?" And they were like, "It was as simple as that, and it's one of their highest selling books." And they were like, sometimes people think that there's so much thought and so much whatever put into things, and they're like, there is, when they sit down and they try to do, like, for example, Scott Snyder's Metal that's coming up. That takes years. That's planning out years and stuff like that. Where something like this was like, let's just do a Harley book.
Yeah.
And it was funny, they were going to call it Rebirth. It was going to be called Harley Afterbirth, and like all the they were going to have her like feet up in stirrups and stuff. It was hilarious. It was an amazing time. I got some awesome artwork I'm going to put up on the Facebook page. A lot of Star Wars artwork I got. And it was, yeah, that's basically what spent my money on there. And it was fun just to walk around taking pictures with a lot of the cosplayers, and that was a blast. And going to Artist Alley, and that I was expecting to spend a lot of money, and they have artwork there that's worth hundreds of dollars, but they also have a lot of two prints for $20 that would look fantastic in a frame,
There you go.
where it's so unique and it's so different. You're not going to walk into any store and find anything like this. And yeah, it was great. I had a blast. If there's ever a local Comic Con or MegaCon, or any of these little conventions, even if it's just a small room with people selling comic books, go to it, find people, talk to people in your community, because I could tell a lot of these people were local, which was awesome. But yeah,
Yeah. No, because
there's
they're doing real quick before we go to break. You were talking about local stuff. Statesville did like their first ever Comic Con not that long ago. They're doing it again July 8th. at the Civic Center
awesome.
here. It was the turnout was so huge there that they scheduled a second one for this year.
Oh, awesome.
It's craziness.
That's
But
cool.
it was awesome. Yeah, I mean, it was packed. I've never seen a convention hall. I've delivered down there for weddings, for some giant events. Nothing like that. I've never seen anything like that. Statesville, 20,000 people in the middle of rural North Carolina, and they packed this place for Comic Con. It's insane.
That's awesome. That's cool. That's cool. Well, yeah. We're running up against a break. So, again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And before we get into the news, a few more things about MegaCon, which is really cool. It's something that I missed because I wasn't there the day that this happened. But DC Comics had a panel for Metal. Now, if you don't know what Metal is, it is their... Oh, man, actually, it's too much to kind of explain. I didn't sit in on the panel, but it's basically the next big DC event. You know how DC hasn't really had... I mean, Rebirth is an event, but it's almost like the New 52, if that makes sense, right?
Right. There's a difference between like a comic event and like an entire thing. Like there's a whole
like a branding, and you know what? Rebirth I think worked on all levels. From what I know I'm late to the party, but you know, listening to Aaron and listening to retailers and listening to people and that just read all the way through, it is very apparent that Rebirth worked. They basically they brought back old characters, and they had a really cool reason as to why. You know, now we know it's all tied into a little bit with Watchmen, and there's this huge mystery, and it was kind of like buy what you want. You don't have to buy it all. You can buy what characters you like and that sort of thing, and it's worked like crazy. It's got me crazy addicted to it right now. And Metal, it apparently encompasses the full expanse of the DC universe. It's the next big event, but it has to do with like dark matter and something and I'm probably getting this wrong, but it has something to do with something to do with I guess it takes place outside of the multiverse that we know. Okay. And it has to do with these twisted nightmares using Batman as a doorway into our universe, and it has to do with dark. It has to do with dark matter and stuff like that. I don't really know. I didn't listen. I wasn't in that panel, and I probably should have been way more prepared for this. So I apologize. But it seemed interesting. You know, it seemed very metal, very rock and roll, very like we want a crazy, because that's the one thing Scott Snyder did talk briefly about when we were in the Rebirth panel, was their love for metal music and stuff like that, and they wanted Batman riding dragons that resembled the Joker in this just twisted dark nightmare world, and you know they wanted it to be like they almost wanted to sell it with the soundtrack,
nice.
Just pumped to the max, kind of like the Doom soundtrack or something. Nice. And what was funny to tie this all up is that you know how at the end of panels they have people that come up and ask questions, right?
Sure.
Well, I saw the video. Todd McFarlane himself crashed
for God's sake.
the metal panel and asked Greg Capullo to explain why Spawn would beat Batman in a fight. And, you know, I guess he gave a very PC answer, and he's like, well, you know, here's the thing. You used to pay me, and now this man pays me. And like tapped on Dan's back. Yeah. So that was interesting stuff that came out of Orlando. But I thought that was cool. You know, next week we'll talk more about Metal once I look more into it. But it just looked awesome. Nice. Like some of the artwork and stuff that they showed just looked crazy. But yeah, I can't wait for that. The DC's really got me not just with that, but like Doomsday Clock, like the Superman stuff and the Batman stuff and the Flash and Watchmen and how that all ties in, and are the Watchmen characters coming to the DC universe, and like I've never been more excited about DC, I don't think, since New 52. But yeah, man, that was fun. That was a blast. Um, let's see here. Um, yeah, I think that was it for from my weekend. I know I kind of ran over with that. But let's see here. What do we got? What do we got on the news here? You want to start it off here with the movie news?
Yeah, sure. The Justice League Dark film, what do they call it? Dark Universe, which is gonna
Mm-hmm.
bump against what Universal's doing with all their monster movies now. So I don't.
Right.
Somebody's
Yep.
got to budge there. But Doug Liman has been signed on to direct it for a while, and he's had to bow out because he's had a scheduling conflict with what's Chaos Walking, I think. He's doing like
Oh.
it's like the next Hunger Games kind of thing, I think. I know it's like a young adult something, and I know
Hmm.
nothing about it, but it's young adult and it has the name Chaos Walking, so it's like I don't think I'm going out on too thin a limb here.
Oh
But
wow. Yeah.
but the guy who's doing the or who has done the new It movie, Andy Muschietti, or
Hmm.
Muschietti, depending. They're talking to him about jumping on board, and I like that idea. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I've only seen the trailer, of course, but it looks creepy as hell.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, man. How have you seen the original It?
yeah,
I've I've seen it years ago, and I know we've talked about it and how creepy it was. And I was thinking back, I only remember like the big moments.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
been a while. It's one of those like for example, I think back to Back to the Future, and I can almost like reimagine every scene in my head. But when it comes to It, I can't. And that might be one I revisit soon, just because it's been so long.
Well, and movies like Back to the Future, not only do they stick with you, but how many times do you think we've
That's true.
watched that film? Like I can, there's a reason I can recite Holy Grail from beginning to end. Like
Right.
it's
Yeah,
not
you're absolutely right.
it's not just because it's a quote worthy movie.
Right. Right. It wasn't one of the ones that I mean, I loved like Jason or Friday the 13th and all those movies, but I wasn't like into horror like a lot of other people were.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, man, that that'd be cool. I can't wait for that. Now, Justice League Dark, I thought they were doing animation, right?
They're doing a live action one too.
Oh, they still are doing the live
Yeah,
action one.
that's
Gotcha.
the one Doug Liman was signed on for. Yeah, because they were gonna do live action, and then like that kind of fell apart. So then they were like, well, hell, we could do an animated one that would be awesome. And so they
And
went
I
ahead and
saw that.
they did that. And then because there was still this huge like this would be amazing live action. What the hell are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean the animated movie was good. I saw
Right.
the trailer. I see the movie? I don't think I saw the movie, but I did not see the movie. Damn, I gotta fix that. But
I've seen it. It was okay.
it was
I
okay.
expect the movie would be a little bit different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they were like, yes, do this. Why can't you do this live action? And so they were finally like, okay, you know what? Fine. You want this? You got this.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. See, with the animated movies, it they tackle those as if everyone in the universe already knows that the other things exist.
Right.
It's nothing to see these people pop up on screen. Where in the movie, I imagine the plot and the pace will be a lot slower. It will be a build up, and you'll be like, holy shit, what is this swamp thing?
Oh yeah.
You know.
It'd be way more horror, for sure.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Like it wouldn't just be like a creature film or even kind of like a sci-fi fantasy kind of film, but
Right.
very much more like a horror movie. Oh yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So that's gonna be cool. Um, what is this Deadpool 2 news?
Okay, so Jack Kesey, was it Kesey? Jack Kesey,
Kesey,
who
yeah.
was in The Strain, has joined the cast officially as the villain. And we're not talking about Marty Skrull. They're thinking that he's gonna play Black Tom Cassidy, who
Oh, you think Juggernaut's gonna be in it? He's gotta be in it.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay, Black Tom Cassidy, the only interesting thing about him is the Juggernaut. Right? No? Am I
I'm
wrong about that?
I'm missing the connection. What am I forgetting?
They're always together.
Are
They're like
they?
a tag team.
I didn't. I don't think I knew that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, Black Tom Cassidy and the Juggernaut. Like, if you Google Black Tom Cassidy, his picture is him holding the Juggernaut's helmet. Like, they are Enzo and Cass pretty much in the comics.
Okay, interesting.
When the Juggernaut became good, that was one of his arcs, was having to take out Black Tom Cassidy and realizing that he just wasn't good for him.
Sure.
I don't know like the detailed history of them. I just always remember them being together in the comics. Tied to each other, but that would be awesome, man. To me, that's when I see that, I think, oh man, that would be cool to see like an actual like big I want to see a big Juggernaut, not what they did in 3.
Yeah, give me like the Mountain in Juggernaut armor.
Yeah. I mean like how they do the Hulk, if that makes sense.
Yeah, kind of. You almost have to, otherwise it does look weird.
Yeah, I want him gigantic, and they can explain it by that stone. It just makes him a massive Hulk thingy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it even works in a movie like Deadpool, where he can just be like, "Wait a minute, so a magic rock does that?"
Right. Oh yeah. There's so many places you could go with that.
Oh yeah.
And Black Tom Cassidy, he's a great character too. I never expect I'd see him in a movie.
Yeah,
but that's fantastic.
Right? Well, they pulled Negasonic Teenage Warhead out of who had one appearance in anything, so
That's true. Did you know, and I think we talked about this, that they traded her powers so that Guardians could use Ego the Planet?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's bizarre, the kind of horse trading that they have to do sometimes. It's weird.
Exactly. Oh yeah. The speaking of Tom Cassidy, he's been in. I read him recently in X-Men Blue, which has been kind of a fun book. Him and the Juggernaut are attacking like a yacht or something like that. X-Men Blue is getting weird. Like it's the original X-Men that's taken out of time and put in the nowadays with Jean and Scott and
right.
Beast and Angel and stuff like that. And I think they tried to put them back, but they realized that these X-Men are not the same X-Men.
Oh, for God's sake.
Beast screwed up or something like that. And this Beast is diving deep into like magic. Like deep into magic. And they're hinting at him kind of maybe turning into like Dark Beast or a bad guy, because he's getting weird with the shit he's obsessing with. Which has been kind of cool. It's a really good X-Men book. If you're looking to read X-Men Blue is probably my favorite out of the new bunch.
I would get back into Marvel right now if they said, "Hey, so next month we're going to start a new monthly. It's going to be called Beast and Doctor Strange."
Oh yeah.
I would kill oh my God, I would kill for that book.
It's it's good. It's the funny little things like where Jean Grey, where she'll say something to Beast, and Beast are like, "I thought you weren't supposed to be going in our heads," and she's like, I'm not," and then you hear her in her head going like, "I won't do it," and then him going, "Good," and like you see like the way they do the art in his face where he's just like, he's like, "I didn't tell her how deep I've been going," like, and it's hinted throughout the whole series, like he opens up a portal to hell and stuff, and they're like, "What have you been doing, Beast, with your time?" Because he's, instead of becoming obsessed with science, he's becoming obsessed with magic. Where the other Beast went into like more like I don't know, more into textbooks and stuff like that. He's going more into like dark magic. So it's been getting interesting. I highly recommend that book.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Rosario Dawson rumored to join the cast as Dr. Cecilia Reyes. Henry Zaga from 13 Reasons Why is cast as Sunspot.
Yeah,
in New Mutants.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's because Rosario isn't already doing something with other Marvel characters.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wonder how they're going to do that.
That's going to be so weird. Well, I imagine there's not an exclusivity deal. Like, she's free to do whatever job she wants.
Oh, that's right. Still owned by Fox. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm trying to think of who he was in 13 Reasons Why. I think he's one of the jocks or something like that.
Okay.
13 Reasons Why was interesting. You haven't seen any of it?
Not yet.
It was good. I haven't finished it. I maybe got like 4 or 5 episodes left, but it was good. Yeah, I think he's like one of the jocks or something like that in school. Did you see? And I don't know if we talked about this. New Mutants is going to be a horror film.
Yes, I meant to throw that in the notes. That's an interesting idea.
Yes.
If for no other
Very
reason than
interesting.
it's finally different for a change.
Yeah, and that's what I guess they're one of the articles I was reading. That's what they were talking about was like, we have this opportunity to make something completely different than what we've been doing. Let's take it. And so, it makes sense. It's got Wolfsbane and stuff in it, and it's got teenagers with these crazy weird powers. So what if it scared the shit out of them
Sure.
when they got the powers? And that would make sense if you suddenly turned into a werewolf type thingy. That would be frightening. So yeah, that's or like lasers pop out of your eyes, or you turn into the temperature of the sun or whatever the hell sunspot does. Like that would freak you out. So that would be fun. You go ahead and take this next one here.
Yeah, so in some really interesting news, Gina Prince Bythewood, who directed the pilot for the Cloak and Dagger series they're doing on Freeform,
Okay.
is going to be directing Sony's. They're doing a film called Silver and Black because writing Silver Sable and Black Cat was too much work, so they just went with the colors. So
Right.
she's doing that movie, which okay,
Maybe
cool.
it's
Hey, go for it.
how many Raiders fans do you think are going to go to the movies that movie theater that day? Be like, yeah, the silver and black, let's go.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
stay and they're like, hey, this wasn't that bad.
Right? They're gonna come thinking it's football, and they're gonna see, let's be honest, two of the biggest vixens in the Marvel universe. So
Yeah.
even though they may think it's false advertising, they're not gonna be disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Apparently, it's going to include. Rumor has it that it's going to include Spider Woman, which would be really cool.
that would be interesting. Well, because I mean, Sony is hell bent on this whole Sony
Hmm.
Spider-Man universe. So I mean, they're
It'd be kind of like their Birds of Prey
yeah.
in a sense.
But I mean, they're still doing a Venom movie that has nothing to do with their current Spider-Man movie. Like, I don't understand how. Like, is Silver and Black? We don't know if this is going to tie into their current Spider-Man or not either.
Yeah. I hope it does. I hope it all ties in. It doesn't have to be directly. Like, it doesn't. You don't have to have Tony Stark in Venom. You don't have to have Hulk in Silver and Black. I just want to mention just that it exists in the same universe. We see, Stark Tower in the background. I'm fine with that. Keep
Right.
its own separate thing, but make it connected.
Yeah, just
It
at least connect it to their Spider-Man. Like they
yeah, yeah,
don't.
exactly.
I don't need to see the Avengers in a Venom film or a Spider-Woman film, but
Right.
just give me a at least, pardon me, a thin thread connecting these.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Bingo, you nailed it. But I think we're coming up against a break.
Yep.
When we get back, we'll get into some more movie news and video games and TV. And our topic, again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And real fast, do you see the box office numbers for Baywatch?
Yeah, I feel bad for The Rock because he was all excited about this movie, and he was
Yeah.
apparently the only one.
Yeah, he was on. I don't know if I saw him on Twitter talking to like the Schmoes Knows guys, and also like on Instagram, he actually said it out loud, where he was like, "Fast and the Furious crossed over 1 billion for international release," and he goes, "And so did Baywatch," said no one ever, and I was like, "Oh, he actually said that on his Instagram, like saying it out loud." He
Yeah.
goes, "I'm just kidding. We love the film. Hopefully, it gets a audience internationally." And yeah, I mean, the reviews came back terrible for it, so
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. People were like, no, and there's so many movies out. Like Pirates is out too, which did that do good?
That Pirates killed. Pirates had what, the second biggest opening for its franchise, I think.
Oh, it did.
Pirates,
Oh, okay.
especially internationally, Pirates cleared 300 internationally
Oh, okay.
or
I guess
worldwide. I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, Pirates cleaned up.
I guess what's the name of the movie?
I don't know. Was it Pirates 5 Dead? Is it Dead Men Tell? No. Yeah, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Right, it says, though it was enough to hardly top the U.S. box office for the holiday event, the film's 4-day gross of $62 million was the lowest opening for the series since the original. Are
Yeah,
you sure?
but look at the global numbers though.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong
Yeah, you're
thing
just looking
here.
at domestic. Yeah, domestic was but worldwide it killed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what are the
Gotcha.
what are the worldwide numbers real quick?
I'm gonna look it up here.
Yeah, it should.
Here.
I'm pretty sure it killed worldwide. I mean,
Yeah.
unless I was just reading a bunch of random bizarre articles, but because like that was the thing. Like that movie had very little buzz over here. Like I didn't actually hear or see much about it other than it got stolen. Like that was kind of it.
Yeah, it
Um,
tops the box office, 270 million.
there it is.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it did good. It's apparently got great reviews.
Yeah, I think that's probably because I think that's because all the old principals are back.
Yeah.
But
Man, I heard how in debt Johnny Depp was. Johnny Depp?
really,
Yeah, I heard he was crazy in debt. Like, he's got a lot of, he doesn't have a lot of cash, but he's got a lot of things, that apparently he's going to have to, like, sell a few homes or something like that.
oh boo hoo.
That's why apparently he came back and did this, because he was like, hey, I could use some cash.
Fair, fair enough.
Yeah, apparently, I don't know. That's what I heard on a few podcasts. I was like, damn, I didn't know that. But
Hey, my thing is really simple. If you're really rich and you want to just like throw away $1 million, I'll take it.
right,
Like
apparently
just
he has like a huge, like he buys a shitload of wine every month, and I don't know. But
yeah.
anyway, this isn't gossip podcast. but yeah,
You can
so
see
I
the
don't know.
headline.
I'll eventually see Pirates. I didn't see the last one.
It was. I mean, like it wasn't awful, but it just wasn't. It was. If they had done this as like a TV movie side story, it would have been fine. Like it just wasn't spectacular, like you would hope.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I mean, it was all right, but you know.
Yeah, the first few I was like, okay, and then I was like, nope, I'm out. Not for me. But hey, not everything's for everybody. So.
True. True.
Yeah, but yeah, man, the summer's been packed. I mean, we got Wonder Woman coming out this week.
Well, and hell, what else comes out this week? There's something else. Like the Captain Underpants movie comes out this week.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But I mean, that's what's nuts. Like nothing has any room to breathe during the summer. There's something
Mm-hmm.
big every single week.
Yep.
And some studios have to look at this and just say, you know what? We're just gonna stake out March.
Right.
Like just, I would so much rather have like spring break real estate to work with. It's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
fewer people are going to the movies. Well, if your movie's big enough, A, it'll work, see
Right.
Deadpool, but
Right.
like also if you're trying, don't cram it between, I mean, Jesus, we've had Fast and Furious and
Guardians.
Pirates and Guardians and Wonder Woman and like all of this stuff in 6-8 weeks. Like it's nuts.
I went and saw Guardians. Maybe was it how many weeks has it been out? Maybe it was 3 or 4 weeks. It was just last week.
Something
Saw
like that.
Guardians. Yeah, that long after it, and it was like in the middle of the day, and you know, it was not packed, but for the middle of a day showing like that, it is no business that many people in the theater, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was great. That's killing it. So yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. There's just way too many coming out at one time. We still got the thing of the comic book films. We still have, there's Alien Resurrection, but Wonder Woman's coming out, Spider-Man, Thor,
Alien Covenant.
Alien Covenant. Well, I keep saying Resurrection. It was not Resurrection.
I hope not.
No. I'll put this, and I heard someone say this. I'm totally stealing it, but it's totally true. This is the third best Alien film, which isn't saying much, I know, but it's the third best one, I think, compared to the others.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because the others, it's like a downhill after Aliens 2.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, so Baywatch bombed. Um, they showed the Batman and Harley Quinn trailer. Wanted to talk about that real fast. I thought the voice was terrible. I think it's Bernadette from The Big Bang Theory that's doing it.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was awful. I do not like what she did with it. Pay Tara Strong to come and do it, please. She does such a great job. Let's see here. We got. Did you see the trailer for Logan Lucky?
It did. It did.
Yeah.
That was different. Like, I didn't know anything about this, and then I saw this, and I was like, okay, well now I'm curious.
Yeah. Yeah, it had who's in it again? It has Daniel Craig, Channing Tatum, Seth MacFarlane, Adam Driver, Hilary Swank. I thought I saw someone compare it to, like, they said it was like a redneck Ocean's 11.
See, that's an elevator pitch. That's it. If that's how you can pitch your movie, this, if there, for whatever bizarre reason, happens to be anybody out there who's into anything creative, that's an elevator pitch. Mm-hmm. That's it. You need okay, how long? 15 seconds. You can do it in one sentence. If you can, I was listening to script notes, and one of their guests, who's a producer, and I forget which one it was. I think it was Aline Brosh McKenna, who said if you can sum up your script in one sentence, that can be interesting.
Right.
And there you go. It's a redneck Ocean's 11. Done. Sold. I want to hear more. My people will call your people, and we'll do a formal pitch. Like, that's
right.
That's fantastic.
God. Oh yeah. Absolutely. We got some Godzilla 2 news. The teacher from Stranger Things, Randy Havens, joins the cast for Godzilla 2, which is cool. I saw King Kong. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't yet, but I want to.
Okay.
I think is it out digitally yet? I think it's out digitally.
I think so.
I'll check after the show. Yeah, if it is, I'll watch it. Cause I
Kong.
That was one I was like, oh, I want to see that, and then just didn't. It just never. It was just like it never happened.
Oh yeah, I saw it at the Dollar Theater. It was fun.
There you go.
Yeah, and usually when it's at the Dollar Theater, it's either out on digital or right about to be out on digital. But yeah, it was fun. It was, not to get into spoilers, it was weird at points. It was like, I don't know. It was odd just because you could tell they were like, how can we just get some explosions in here and some just crazy action? And
yeah,
no, there's zero character development, zero, nothing. It was, I don't know. But it was a lot of action. It was a lot of fun. I loved the Kong stuff. That was the most important stuff. And, I did like some of the characters in it. But it was very Vietnam. Like that's like eerily Apocalypse Now. Like
it
scene
seemed
by
like
scene.
it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were I think they shot this where they shot Apocalypse Now, and it was in the 70s, and it was very all the music, it was like someone that might have been their elevator pitch was Kong in Apocalypse Now.
Hey, there you go. Like, okay, what do you mean? Well, just think of Apocalypse Now, but instead of fighting the Viet Cong, they're looking for King Kong.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
That's all right. All right.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That's different, to be sure. Oh.
And the last bit of news was apparently Aquaman is going to take place after the Justice League.
Wait, hold on. What?
Yeah.
So, all right. No, I'm confused now. When I thought DC couldn't fuck things up any worse. What?
well, doesn't Justice League comes out before Aquaman, so that makes sense, right?
Oh, does it? I don't remember.
Justice League comes out this year.
No, it doesn't.
Sure it does.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't?
I don't... No? I don't remember.
Comes out at the end of the year.
I don't remember.
Yeah, Justice League definitely comes out this year. It comes out before Star Wars.
Does it? Okay.
November 17th, 2017.
Okay. I forgot. I totally forgot.
Yeah, no, Aquaman comes out next year, so I guess they just confirmed that it does take place after Justice League. So, spoiler alert: Aquaman lives.
You're kidding.
Right.
Oh,
Which
boy.
looks great. I mean, that movie, everything I've seen from it looks cool.
I'll tell you what has given me a little hope is the that Wonder Woman is getting really good reviews.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that for
I'm
just a minute, man.
I'm I'm thrilled. I'm stunned, but I'm thrilled. Like I'm genuinely excited. I'm glad. Like the from what I keep seeing is that they're like, "Hey, you know what? It's not the greatest movie ever made, but especially by comparing it to what's come before it, it's
Right,
awesome." Like
right, right. Hell yeah, man. And I'm glad, I guess, if any of them was as good a reviews as it's getting, I'm glad it's Wonder Woman because
yeah.
she deserves it. Like we've seen a million Batman, we've seen a million Superman films. Who cares? They're gonna keep making those until the end of time.
Right.
Wonder Woman is way more important, and I'm glad that it nails it. Um,
I wonder.
uh,
I just. I. I wish we had an Alamo Drafthouse around here so that I could go support them.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Have you?
Well, you couldn't go support them for that opening,
Oh
but I
yes,
get what you're saying.
grr. Yeah. It's,
Right, right. But
God
I
damn it.
totally agree with you that people are crazy. People
It's
are lost
madness.
their
It's
minds.
just fucking
Go to
madness.
any other showing. Like let
Right.
oh,
Oh my
man.
god. Who let them celebrate the fact that we've not actually had a Wonder Woman movie. I'm sure
Right,
there's somebody who's going to dig up like there was a TV movie or like a their version of like a direct to video movie way back in the day or something. But
right.
for all intents and purposes, we have not had this is a giant first. It is historic, it
Hmm.
is important, and I completely support what Alamo Drafthouse is doing, and I think it's hysterical watching the backlash prove their point.
The insecurity
Yes, it's oh
of
my
of
god.
some people.
Uh,
Jesus.
and Don Cheadle had the best response of all people to just kind of pop up and do this. Um,
Hmm.
when because they were like, well, what if men decided we wanted to just get together and celebrate just men only? And Don Cheadle said, yeah, that's called the planet.
Right. Just walk outside
Yes.
and exist because that's the world we live in
And
right
just
now.
get the fuck over it, man. If you're
Right.
these are the same people who talk about how so many people get butthurt over everything, and yet here they are. Like I'm
Right.
just get the fuck over yourselves, man. It's a showing of a movie.
Yeah. And I like how
Really?
the draft house is like, we've heard your responses. And we're going to do multiple ones now,
Yes.
like in New York and all these other places. And I was like, yes, that's
Yes.
awesome.
We've heard everything that you've said about this. We've taken all your comments into careful consideration, and that's why we're adding more screenings.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Good for them.
Hell yeah,
Good for
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Now, we've been just kind of done with DC for a while when it comes to the movies. But this, I'm so glad that this is getting good reviews, and I'll be seeing it this week. I'm sure you will be too.
I'm
Um,
gonna try to see it probably Tuesday. I always do my because you know me, I like my middle of the week early
right,
shows because there's nobody else there except
and
for
that's
something like
true.
I'll be at the midnight for The Last Jedi, of course. But
Yeah, I see. I'm torn. I love midnight showings because that energy in a room, it's like no other.
yeah,
Um, Everyone's excited when they're excited. That was the difference between Guardians with a room full of people who weren't that interested. The laughs weren't there when they were there the first night. The excitement, the awe, the ooh, the all of that. None of that's there on a crowd that's 3 weeks later.
true.
Because they're like, well, this, I guess, seeing Wonder Woman a week later, or that weekend technically, that's not bad. But if you wait like 3 weeks, the audience there is like thinking about buying new sunglasses and stuff
Pretty much, yeah,
while Drax is being funny.
yeah.
But we gotta take a quick break. I think. How are we doing with time?
We've got like a minute,
All
I
right. Well,
think.
what is there any other movie news before we had to break here? Let's.
I was trying to think of something. I can talk about the greatest awful movie I've seen lately, real quick.
Sure. Yeah. Go
Because
ahead.
my girl and I couldn't decide on a movie to watch, so I said, "All right, fine. I'm just gonna scroll through Netflix until I find something." and I found something that had 4 words I never thought I'd ever actually say in my life. Christian Mingle the movie.
What?
It was amazing. It was actually not as awful as it should have been. It was bad, don't get me wrong, but there was at least one scene in there in particular where I was like, this writing is brilliant. Like it's there, it's fairly by the numbers, and you know what you're getting as soon as you see the title. But the female lead is an ad executive basically, and goes on this whole tangent about this hair growth product. And it's like, oh shit, I don't have any pitches for this product. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. It's like, surprise, you have to pitch this. And she throws one idea out there and it's crap, but the second one they do is just magnificent. It is and I'm serious, like it's just so balls out. Like they ran with this when they wrote it, and she ran with this when she acted it. It's a genuinely phenomenal scene in what the hell did I just watch of a movie, basically.
Right.
But it was so bizarre. It was like, this scene is really well acted and really well written and fantastically directed. But, the rest of the movie is just, hey, what do you expect? It's called Christian Mingle, the movie. You know what it's
Right.
going to be.
All right, well, I jotted that one down. That should be interesting. All right, well, with that said, we'll take a quick break. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And we'll get into some video game news. And of course, the big story of this week is Far Cry 5.
Yes.
Now, didn't we talk... Now, I remember talking about Montana. Weren't we talking about Montana not too long ago?
Why is it you make one fucking joke about Montana and it keeps coming back to haunt us?
Yes. So I said, what would I said something like Montana would be boring or something like that.
Right. It was like there's something, I don't even remember the context, but that was kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, and good friend of the show, Jake, it was quick to remind me how he goes, yes, it's beautiful, and yes, it's boring.
Yeah.
So just there's the amount of people in the state of Montana and how big it is compared to a city like San Francisco.
Yeah.
And how many people are in a small area compared. It's insane. I think there's just a couple million people in Montana. I could be wrong. But that is where Far Cry 5 takes place. It is, let's see here. So in the trailer, have you seen the trailer?
I have. It's, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
So it's apparently like a cult. I can't get directly to the page because Forbes has the worst website.
It's awful sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's basically like it's a crazy religious cult.
Yes.
Way back in the woods. It's survivalist. Mm-hmm. It's, the kind of lunatic. It's, it's when you think of like what are the crazies in Montana probably like, this is probably what comes to mind.
Right. Where for, I liked how, I think it was the director that was talking about it. One of the things he was like, imagine a place where, obviously they are spinning their own version of their own religion out of Christianity and stuff like that. And they are creating their own cult. They are forcing baptism and all this other crazy stuff. And it's like, what if there was this place where they said, don't trust the government, and trust us instead of, and then literally becoming a dictator out of it. And they said that what if there are places like that could exist in the United States of all places, if there was no one around, if the police were in on it, who knows how far that could go. And you're in this big open space, you could feel isolated.
Yeah.
And he went on about he was like going to Montana and sitting down in a bar, and he wanted this to be like a story that you could hear in a bar one day about this crazy town where this stuff started happening and there was nothing they could do about it. And a lot of the trailer videos were cool with like the preacher, where he was like loading his shotgun and stuff like that, and he was like, the sheep have strayed and all this other stuff. It was cool, and it's basically like a town wanting a few members of the town who've had enough of the craziness and they want to take it back, which could be really interesting. Yeah. And I guess I'm proven wrong because I'm glad it's not just another island,
Right. Like because we've had, the first Far Cry was an island. The second Far Cry was what, Africa or the Middle East or something like that. Like it was.
Yeah, I jumped on with Far Cry 3.
Yeah, like it was.
And it was an island.
Yeah, Far Cry 2 I think was kind of more military-ish. Like
okay.
If I remember right, now maybe I may be very off here, but it was kind of leaning towards more of a Call of Duty kind of vibe. Of like less, there was still nuttiness to it for sure, but it was more of a military-ish kind of thing. I didn't
African landscapes such as desert, jungles, and savannas.
Yeah, and then like it kind of got away. It went more mainstream than the original Far Cry. That's what I was looking for.
Right.
And so then with 3, they were like, okay, you know what? Far Cry 2, we hear you, we heard you. So they went full on island crazy again, and it was awesome. Loved it.
Right.
And then Far Cry 4 was like, hey, now they're in Tibet and everybody's crazy, and we're just like, you guys just kind of swapped out the location from 3, and that was more or less it.
The Himalayas and stuff like that.
Yeah. And Primal was interesting. Primal was like, hey, the animal stuff, we're going to go nuts with that. Okay, well, that's different. All right.
It was a total detour. I imagine Far Cry Primal was essentially like an expansion pack where kind of like what they did with the one for 3.
Blood Dragon, yeah.
Blood Dragon. I imagine it started out like that, and then they were like, no, we could do a whole game like this.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's exactly what happened.
Which was awesome. Yeah. I didn't finish it, but I still own it. Might get back to that one day. But this is a totally different direction. After Primal, I think people were like, they could take this whole Far Cry and go anywhere. They could go to like feudal Japan or something. They could do anything with it. And they decided to put it in modern day America in Montana.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of room and nobody really around. Like, I love that. Some people didn't, but
oh yeah, there was an uproar because
speaking of the people,
everyone on the cover was white, including the sinner that was clearly being punished for something.
My favorite thing in the whole, and there's a petition, because of course there's a petition to alter or change the villains or whatever. And there was one that really made me laugh, and I can't remember the exact wording, but the general idea of it was that this idea of a crazy anti-government backwoods militia cult doesn't just have white members. There can also be Mexicans. That was in the actual line, and I was like, are you out of your... How stupid do you fucking have to be?
Right.
Like, no, I'm sorry. Look, white people, this is us, man. These are our crazies. This is it. Right. We have to own this. Like, this is what our crazies are. We point at everybody else. This is our crazies. Own it. Just deal with it. Right. Oh, hey, look, these people are nuts. That should be the beginning and end of it. These people are just completely out of their fucking minds.
It's a fictional story. Let the bad guys be whoever the creators wanted them to be. Like, it to me, that's such bullshit. I saw a Twitter comment that said something along the lines of, could you imagine if they did this with like Muslims or someone like that? And I was like, go play Call of Duty, because like, if that's what you want, it's been around forever. This isn't anything new. It makes sense that if there was a religious militia in Montana, that they would be white. Yeah. Like, it would be odd if they were, a bunch of Mexicans or a bunch of, I don't know, African Americans. It wouldn't make sense. Right. It makes sense that it's a bunch of white people, and that's okay. Speaking as a white guy, that's fine. I can't wait to play this and murder all of them in this fictional game. Like, it's so stupid. It makes no sense to me.
I
The people that get upset about that, I think, maybe identify a little bit with them. Maybe, I don't know.
I
And they feel that this some way is an attack on them.
a little too close to home, methinks. But
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I can think of because, when I hear someone talking about like geeks and nerds and stuff like that, I get a little bit offended because that hits home for me,
right.
And I'm thinking maybe that's what's happening with them because they're like, wait a second, and this is an attack on religion. These obviously is a cult, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's a spun out, twisted version of that.
And that is so much. The point that they're missing is that these people have perverted all of these ideas. That maybe
Yes.
it's like, yeah, I don't trust the government. Okay, great. Are you going to hold an entire town hostage in the name of your own twisted religion because you don't like taxes? Well, no.
Right.
Well, then shut the fuck up.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
Madness.
if they're so that's dumb to me. If Far Cry was gonna put the game, kind of I guess in the middle of Africa, it would make sense that the people of that region would be in the game. It makes sense that Montana, the people that live there, are gonna be in that game.
Here's the flip side of this. I remember Resident Evil 5 when people got upset because, oh my god, you're killing black zombies. The game's set in Africa. What do you want?
What do you expect?
Like this, they're. I don't like being one of these people who constantly yells at people who get offended at shit. But sometimes you're just being stupid, and this is one of those times.
Right. It's a game. It's just a game. If you don't want to, it's just so stupid. There's so many other games with other villains that you can go through and do whatever you want with. Let this seems fresh and new, and I personally can't wait for it. I think it's I cursed my words about Montana not too long ago because this looks awesome. There's gonna be bears and the little teaser trailers leading up to it were really cool. Where
that was
it
neat.
was like,
oh
yeah, it was like the river and it looked peaceful and calm and beautiful, and then there's a body in it, and there's one where it's like almost like a plane's flying over, and a lot of space, a lot of land, and then you hear the bell ringing in the clock tower of the church or whatever, the steeple, and then you realize that someone's banging someone's head up against the bell. Like, it looks cool. I can't wait to see what they do with it. Yeah. So that's gonna be interesting.
I swear to God, if Watch Dogs 3 is set in Montana, I'm quitting show business. Like, I'm done.
Right.
I'm so done.
Yeah. But yeah, the shitty thing is it comes out in February. So that sucks. I think it's because it all leaked. Like this week, they were like, "Hey, Assassin's Creed's in Egypt. Far Cry 5 is in Montana," and I forgot what are the other things they leaked. But they were like, "Okay, well, we might as well just announce it all." I imagine this was going to be saved for E3, but because it all got out there, which is fine. I mean, E3 is going to be packed anyway with a bunch of crazy news. It's kind of better this got out beforehand, I think.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
It's got everyone talking.
Yeah. Because that's what E3 needs is buzz. Like,
right. Oh yeah, man. The one thing I want from E3 this year, and by the way, that's what we're going to talk about next week. We'll talk about that again at the end of the show, but our big topic next week is going to be our predictions, what we want to happen, that kind of stuff. And my number one thing is so simple. I want Nintendo to say, today the Virtual Console is released. That's it. That's all I want. Yeah. I want some old games on that system. But yeah, let's get in. You go ahead and take the next one here.
Yeah, so over at Square Enix, they've moved production of the Final Fantasy VII Remake totally in-house. They were working with, I can't remember who, was it CyberConnect too, I think?
I think you're right, yeah.
I think that's who they were working with. But Naoki Hamaguchi said that they were just going to do it all in-house. That way they had total control over it and everything. And I keep seeing like so many people getting upset, like, oh, they're delaying it again. This is a giant freaking project. I'm okay with them taking their time on this. I've waited a very long time for this. I don't mind if it's a few more years out. I'm okay. I really am.
Right. Wouldn't this make it faster if they were working on it in-house?
I
Or
would think at least a little bit. I mean, I know they're
right,
working on some other stuff too. Like they've got Kingdom Hearts 3 that they're working on. They're still doing some Final Fantasy 11 stuff, or not 11, 14. I'm sure they've still got support, and I don't know if there's any other content coming out for 15 or not. But
right.
I mean, I know they're working on all of these things, but I am totally cool with them just bringing it all under their umbrella. I'm good with that.
Yeah,
I would.
absolutely.
I'll
Yeah.
take the extra time if this, because here's the thing, and this is something that I am glad to see that Square Enix has shown that they understand. If they screw this up, the backlash will be eternal and unforgiving.
Yeah.
They cannot screw this up. And there's a difference between, they're not going to please everybody. Not going to happen. But
Right.
there's a difference between not pleasing everybody and screwing up. And they know they cannot screw this up. This is too big. And you can tell that they're aware of it. That they know, like, if this goes wrong, they're fucked. And they
Yeah.
know it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I don't really have much to add to it because I mean, Final Fantasy VII. I don't know. I know everyone's excited for it. But I'll play it when it comes out,
Yeah.
kind of thing. It doesn't, that and like Kingdom Hearts. Like I never. I really should pick up the Kingdom Hearts on PS4 because it when I tried to play it on the PlayStation 3, the controls were just god awful, and I heard they fixed that.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I heard too, and that's good because they were
oh yeah.
old Kingdom Hearts controls were not
Oof.
good.
Going back to that was like fucking time machine. You can't even you turn right with like the L1 and R1. It was just terrible.
Yeah, it was strange.
We to kind of round out some video game news, we got Smash Brothers leaked a rumor. This could be real, it could be not. It could be a very very crazy good quality fake, but from what I can see, and I think you've seen the images too, it looks awesome.
Yeah,
I would.
if these are faked, then Nintendo needs to hire these people to do graphic design for them because they're
Oh
awesome.
yeah, it's awesome. Now I don't know if these are the same levels that are in the old Smash Brothers game. I didn't play the old Smash Brothers game because I didn't have a Wii U, and I didn't buy it on 3DS because it just didn't seem like a 3DS kind of game.
Yeah.
But it looks beautiful. It looks like it looks like Smash Brothers. So I don't know if it's like a definitive edition version of that. That would make more sense than releasing a Smash Brothers game like 1 year out, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, because like Smash Brothers for Wii U did really well because it's Smash Brothers.
But it would be too soon for like Smash Brothers, the next one, right?
I don't think so. I mean, God,
They usually come out like 4 or 5 years apart, right?
Well, but I mean, they I don't know, but with the Wii U and Switch stuff, it's been kind of weird. Because there was also like it was Wii and Wii U, and now it's Wii U and Switch. Like it's weird, and I think the idea of doing something new to say, okay, here we're moving on now. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's good. And here's the other thing: that's gonna sell units.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna sell systems like crazy. That is absolutely a killer app for the Switch, no question.
Yeah. Because I mean, every Switch is 2 players right out of the gate, so you can sit down with your buddy and play this game right out of the gate. So that's play with someone sitting right next to you on the bus or train or whatever. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks great. It looks like Smash Brothers, so that's awesome. Yeah, man. God, I want a virtual console. Nintendo is going to be the one I pay attention to the most at E3 because we've heard, I don't know. I feel like we've heard about what the next 2 or 3 years are going to be like for Sony and Microsoft and everything.
Yeah, not so much with Nintendo.
Nothing with Nintendo. We don't know anything after Mario at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So I hope that Nintendo, I imagine it's going to be heavy Mario Odyssey, but I want to know what's next, and I want to know what the virtual console is going to look like because there's a lot of these virtual games like the Disney morning cartoon, whatever it was, that they released, not out there yet. You know, Mega Man collection's not out there yet. I imagine all of these are being held for that. But we got to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get into some TV news, and then we'll get into our big topic of the week. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And we left off with some video game news. Now we're going to talk about TV real fast. And before we get into TV, though, let's actually talk about what we kind of just saw. Marvel Comics this summer, because they love events. There's going to be a Venom event. I think it's going to be called, what, Venomverse?
Venomverse, yeah, like how they did Spider-Verse.
Yes. Now, do we know kind of the summary of what this is going to be, or... I mean, Eddie Brock's going to be at the center of it. I read that.
Yeah, because he came back as Venom in issue 150, which was...
Yeah, Colin Bunn, I think, is heading it.
Yeah. He did, didn't he do Harrow County?
I think he did, yes.
Oh, then I am way more excited for this now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Speaking of indies, I picked up Wicked and the Divine as like my free graphic novel from a comic shop.
Oh, nice. Good choice. Good choice.
Last week, because that was one of them I never read. He had you know, Saga and a few of the other ones that I've read, but that was one I was like, oh, well, I haven't read that, so that's it. But yeah, so yeah, Colin Bunn is heading this. I think you said that if Spider-Verse was Saving Private Ryan, the Venomverse is Die Hard.
Yeah, that was what Devin Lewis said, which I thought was hysterical.
That's cool. That's cool. It looks like it's going to have a lot of Venoms in it.
And I love looking at like some of the like they've got this giant banner image of things, but the thing that's interesting is it seems like
there's even the Porker one.
Yeah, there's a what is it? Pork grind from the Spider Ham universe. It looks like the idea here is that do you remember Poison?
Yeah.
Yeah, that the multiverse versions of Poison are the enemies.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all the Venoms teaming up to fight all the different Poisons, and it's like I'm seeing artwork for Poison Hulk. They've got Venom Black Panther. They've got what the hell?
They got Venom Rocket Raccoon. It looks like.
Yeah, well, they had him in Guardians at one point.
Right.
They had, which was just nuts. They've got Old Man Logan Venom, which is like that looks. I would pay for a statue of that. That looks just gorgeous.
Oh yeah. They have the zombie Venom.
They've got zombie Venom. They've got Venom Gwenpool. They've got it's just it's insane. They've got T-Rex Venom from Old Man Logan. It's nuts the things that they have in here. They've got zombie Venom, you know, because of course they do. They've
Flash
got
Thompson.
Flash Thompson
will be
like
his number 2 or something.
Yeah, they've got Ghost Rider Venom. They've just, I mean, this is just insane.
They even have that weird one with like 6 heads.
Yeah, which I remember he was from, what was it, Web of Shadows, I think, from one of the Spider-Man video games, I think.
I just remember seeing him, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you were way more into Venom and stuff like that than I was, because you're the Spider-Man guy. This is your ballpark.
Like this. Now I'm interested. Now I'm like, okay, I've got to go back and pick up Venom again and see what the hell's going on, because this is insane.
I always thought he was visually just awesome to look at. Such a cool character to draw as well.
Yeah.
The character design of Venom to me is probably the best of all Spider-Man stuff, and what they did with it. So I can't wait. That looks awesome. I can't wait, man.
Yeah, that's just gonna be so cool. Like I just happened to see that, and I was like, man, I gotta talk about this. It's just, God, this is so good.
So when's that come out? June?
June, yeah, because they're starting with Edge of Venomverse, like they did Edge of Spider-Verse. So this just gonna be cool. Like I can't wait. It should be which, you know, if you're listening to this as it airs, which June is today, so it's gonna be like in the next couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah. June 28th is Edge of Venomverse.
Nice. So at the end of the month, be
End of the
4
month.
4 weeks.
Yeah, and it looks great. Like the
Excellent.
cover of the first one. I'm showing a few different ones. One of five. Got like X-23 and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, I
So
think the idea is like each of the like that big like banner image they showed is gonna
hmm
be. It's one of those things where like it's all variant covers and you put them together and you get the picture.
yeah, that's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah, can't wait for that.
that's gonna be so cool.
Yep, yeah. Um, did you? Okay, so let's get into some TV news real fast. Did you see the Castlevania trailer
Yeah,
for Netflix?
I was surprised. I was like, that looks really cool.
Very anime, very awesome.
Yeah, It'd be
I don't know much about Castlevania, who those characters were, but
well,
looks great.
the basic, Castlevania is basically Dracula versus fill in a first name here, Belmont. Like it's
There you
Dracula versus the Belmont family forever, pretty much.
go. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, the last bit of news here is going to kind of take us into our big topic. Um, apparently Warner Brothers, and Amblin Television, and Steven Spielberg
Well, because
is report
because Amblin is his company. Yeah.
right is reportedly developing a reboot for the Animaniacs, which is insane.
Yeah, but what happened was they put it on Netflix, and apparently they got like Netflix shared with them their private statistics or whatever they do whenever they want to feel good about something. And it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this shit is bananas. Like it's
Yep.
huge on Netflix.
Oh, Animaniacs was huge when we were a kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You think they're gonna get any of the original voice actors back?
I think they could. I think they absolutely could. I've
Yeah.
gotta believe they'd be down for it.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say something that sounds insensitive, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they're all still alive.
They are.
I thought so.
Oh yeah.
Like I know Rob Paulson had a bout with, I think it was throat cancer over the last year.
Yeah.
But because he started his podcast back up again with a thing about it. But he's back and ready to go. Maurice LaMarche is always down. He's always doing something.
hmm
Tress MacNeille, like that whole, they could get that whole crowd back. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be awesome. Get those voices back, those iconic, anyone our age, if
Oh
you're
yeah.
right
Oh
around
hell yeah.
30, you knew Animaniacs. Yeah, that block of television, that block of programming was awesome, and that's kind of what we wanted to talk about for a big topic this week, is just the cartoon shows we watched as kids. Like I guess it would be what the '90s cartoons we would call it.
Yeah, pretty much.
'90s, early 2000s, I
Yeah,
guess. But yeah, '90s
maybe
is
maybe some 80s.
maybe
Like
some '80s. Yeah,
it depends
the
on.
cartoons of our childhood, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And if you're anywhere around our age, you watch some of these, and I mean, I guess we could start with like just Animaniacs and just how awesome that was. A lot of it felt like I don't remember seeing a show like that before, where it was kind of like I don't know. I guess Tiny Toons was kind of like it, but I don't know. It was like they were trying to go off of the Looney Tunes, but it was just to me it was just so much better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was definitely an attempt to be kind of an updated Looney Tunes show.
It was like a relevant Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Pinky and the Brain and just the crazy characters like the nurse, Ralph the security guard. Yeah, it was it was great. I don't know. I absolutely loved it. What about you?
You had Mindy and Buttons. You
hmm
had Slappy and Skippy. You had my one of my favorite segments was Good Idea, Bad Idea.
Oh yeah.
Those were hysterical. But just God, I love that show. I love that show. And so many
Don't
of
forget
those
about Freakazoid.
Freakazoid, which spun off
Yeah.
from that. Yes, so much yes.
Yep.
That was one that like I want to see more of that. Bring back Freakazoid. Freakazoid was awesome.
Freakazoid, absolutely.
The problem was that Freakazoid came too late. It was targeted at us at a time where we were finally starting to move away from that.
Right.
If you did Freakazoid right now, there would be a huge pop for that. And you don't have to put it on broadcast, put it on Netflix or Hulu or whatever. But I guarantee you you will get a huge pop for it. Hell, they're bringing back Invader Zim. Bring back Freakazoid.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh yeah. I loved when they they did what all of the countries of the world. They did the capitals, I think, in the States.
They did the presidents. They did.
Yeah.
They've done. Oh yeah, Animaniacs music was great. Like some of those songs were ridiculously clever.
Oh, absolutely.
They did. I think my favorite was the one they did about Variety magazine. And it was basically just kind of taking the piss out of Hollywood people who are like, oh yeah, well, this is the lingo they use in Variety, so we all have to use this lingo, even though none of us have a clue what it actually means.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. Did you know that they originally started out as ducks?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, before they became like the dog like species things that they are.
Yeah.
They were ducks, which I thought was interesting because I think they were kind of seriously just trying to riff off of, like the Disney cartoons and Looney Tunes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, they were on Kids WB, right? But I remember them being on Fox, I think. Right?
I only remember them from Kids WB.
Okay, here, yeah. Fox Kids Air episodes 1 through 69, WB 70 through 99.
Okay. So it started.
And then, of
on
course,
Fox
they
Kids.
just replayed it a million times after
Sure,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, because I remember them coming out of the Warner Brothers.
The water tower, yeah.
Water tower, yeah. So, makes sense. But yeah, man, that was a cartoon. That was a good one. What are some other good ones that you remember as a kid?
Oh, okay. I mean, we've got to talk about Nicktoons. Like all of them. Like,
all of them. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's start out with the big one, Rugrats, right?
Yeah. Rugrats and Doug were kind of the two pillars that Nicktoons was founded on, basically.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
that was.
I mean, Rugrats. Oh man, I remember just watching that forever.
Yeah.
Before, like, I don't know, that was great. Just the little adventures they'd get on. I think I watched it up until the point where he had a brother.
Yeah,
and that's when I bounced.
Yeah, like around the time the movie came out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be about right.
That's when I bounced, and that's when I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch more The Simpsons and King of the Hill and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, by that point, it had been what, 8-9 years.
Yes.
God, I mean, Rugrats ran, I think, for 8 seasons.
Damn.
I think. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it went for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, hell, they just renewed SpongeBob for a 12th, so I mean.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they had Rugrats, they had Doug. Doug's awesome. The Beats.
The Beats.
Skeeter. Man, yeah, that show.
Oh, man. Doug. Here was the thing that was great about Doug and Rugrats was that it was all about imagination.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was great. Yep. It was about taking things that were almost trivial, but they mattered. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well, we got to be, Chucky's got to be potty trained. Yeah, but he's terrified of the potty. And it, but there was imagination to it. Every time they went into Stu's workshop, it was, that was just license for them to cut loose and do whatever the hell they wanted.
Oh, yeah.
But, and Doug was the same way. It was like, this is a kid who is just daydreaming. And that was,
Patty Mayonnaise.
Yeah. And he played banjo, and it was just like he was like they were. It was interesting. It was different. It was. I don't want to say they don't make them like that anymore because I don't watch current cartoons, but for cartoons for kids today are not like they were for us. And I know
No,
I know it's a stupid sounding thing to say. I'm aware of that,
right.
but it's just uh,
Yeah.
they're not.
What about Rocko's Modern Life?
Rocco was the great subversive Nicktoon.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah.
so adult. Or you go back and watch it now, and you're like, "Holy shit! Did I watch that when I was like 5? Are you kidding me?"
Right, right. Oh, absolutely. Ren and Stimpy,
Right?
same kind of thing.
Yeah, and that was the proto Nicktoon, because Ren and
Yep.
Stimpy, I'm pretty sure predated Doug and Rugrats. I think by a season, or came out like at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah, that they got weird.
Yeah.
They
They
got
got
some,
really weird.
that was
Our
one
Real
that
Monsters.
Our Real Monsters was great. I remember the Halloween that came out was
Yep.
awesome.
I always have the image of the intro and how like the letters were the monsters and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah. That was a show.
That was a strange show. And you notice how nobody freaked out that their big headmaster, the Grumble, who had 4 legs, wore red stilettos.
Yeah.
I mean, just like bright ruby red high heels. And nobody said a word. Nothing.
No.
It was just a thing. It didn't matter. Nobody cared. Ah,
Yep. Yeah. No. It.
simpler
What a
times.
great show.
And it was. It was another thing about that was an interesting show about exploration and tolerance at its heart.
Hmm.
Was like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
not everything is all that bad. I still have to scare humans, but the world isn't such a crazy, whacked out place after all.
Right. Right. Now, do they show any of this still on television?
There is a block of there used to be a Nicktoons channel, and I don't think there is anymore.
No, I
There,
don't think so either. I think they used to have it, and I'm reading it like final dates for some of these. It's really sad,
yeah.
and because they all got replaced with like other stuff that I've never heard of. Um, but I mean, there was Cat Dog, there was Angry Beavers, Kablam.
I loved Angry Beavers, and Kablam was kind of the end of where that was where I started to taper off with Nicktoons.
Yep,
Um,
same here.
and Nicktoons is actually still a channel. It's actually
Oh,
still its
okay,
own
yeah,
channel. Yeah.
yeah. But the stuff they show, like I'm looking at like animated series. It's like Rabbids Invasion,
Eh.
Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket. I don't know what the fuck that is. The Fairly Odd Parents I've heard of.
Yeah.
Harvey Beaks. I've never heard of any of these things. But I think we're coming up against a break, right?
Yeah.
And when we get back, we'll get more into some of our favorite cartoon shows as a kid. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we're talking about our favorite animated shows as kids. And I think I mean, what other Nicktoons before we move on? Can you think of? There was Cat Dog, the Wild Thornberries. I never really watched.
I love the Wild Thornberries, and
Yeah.
I remember Cat Dog. This was interesting because the first episode of Cat Dog was actually shown before some movies, and I can't remember
Oh,
which
okay.
movies, but they aired it like it was a trailer, kind of like they aired it during that space.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a 5 or 6 minute short. It was more like a short film than an actual episode.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I do, and it was awesome because it was like the animation was gorgeous on a big screen.
Okay.
But I remember that. I think Angry Beavers was my favorite by far.
I think of all the Nicktoons, probably Rugrats would be my favorite
Yeah.
if I had to pick one. I think we were just right at the right age for that.
Yeah, it was perfect time for us. And I mean, towards you had ones like Invader Zim, you had As Told by Ginger, which was surprisingly socially conscious. Like
Right.
that was where they they were like, okay, our audience is starting to grow up. Here's our way to reach them. And it was a great idea, but I don't think it panned out the way they wanted, because it kind of like what you were talking about. By that point, you were moving towards like King of the Hill and Simpsons and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's when I geared more towards that. Um, is there any more Nicktoons you want to talk before we get into like some of the WB or some of the Fox or some of the Cartoon Network?
I mean, we can't stress how big Hey Arnold was. Like that, you know.
Oh yeah.
The best Hey Arnold episode was when they took over the classroom.
Aren't they bringing that back?
Yeah, they are. They're doing
a movie.
Yeah, they're doing a direct to video animated movie. That's gonna kind of
Hey Arnold the Jungle movie.
Yeah, like it's gonna tie everything up basically.
That's cool.
And yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, 2-part animated TV movie. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll definitely check that out. Yeah, Hey Arnold was great. You know, that's when I think that's when they did grow up a little bit with the cartoon. They were dealing with more, you know, I wouldn't say adult themes, but they were dealing with more like reality type stuff.
Yeah, that was definitely when they started, and then they got into, then you had like As Told by Ginger, and you had some of the other stuff they went with, and then they kind of went back because you had Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom and some of that other stuff.
Right. Oh yeah. Let's talk about, when I was a kid. Real fast, we'll get into like the superhero type stuff. This is when I think of Sunday morning cartoons or Saturday morning or whatever morning.
Saturday morning, yeah.
Saturday morning, yeah. I think of X-Men the animated series, Batman the animated series, and Spider-Man the animated series.
Amen.
That is the pillar of when I was a kid. That's what I was watching. There was a lot of stuff around it that was interesting, like Eek the Cat and a bunch of other crazy stuff. Yeah. Bobby's World, but those were the ones where I was like, this is my soap opera. And I knew that at the time. I was like, this is a soap opera. This is what, my Meemaw or whatnot watches. Her stories every week. Those are my stories.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it and going, the Phoenix Saga, and like all of the stuff looked exactly from the comic.
Yeah.
Like to a T. They didn't change them to make them look different. They weren't like, we're going to put our cool new spin on them like they did with like future X-Men animated shows. They looked exactly like the cards I was collecting, the toys I was buying or my parents were buying for me. It was time to be alive if you were into that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like I don't know. When I see the toys nowadays in the stores when I walk by and pretend I'm not interested in them, but I do go over and look at them. They always look like slight versions of, you know what I mean? They look like, I don't know, like an artist rendition of that character. They all look the same, if that makes sense. But back then, it looked straight up from the comic book, straight up from the show. And so, yeah, man, like, and that was a crazy thing is they took actual arcs from the comics, like especially Spider-Man and X-Men. Batman did too, but Batman also, I think, created a lot of original stuff as well.
Yeah, they went off and they did their own spin with Batman the Animated Series, and it worked.
Harley Quinn.
That was just. She was just a henchwoman, and then they were like, oh, we could bring her back and do some stuff with her, and just killed it. I mean, that created, one of the biggest DC characters running in Harley Quinn. Like that was awesome. And then from that you got and then you went to Batman Beyond, which was really interesting, and you had. That kind of spun off the whole, like, you also had, the New Adventures of Superman. You had, the Justice League series that they did.
Yeah.
Some
really that's where I kind of hopped off when it was at Batman vs Superman. A little bit after that with the Justice League.
Yeah.
The Heart of Ice episode with Mr. Freeze.
God damn, it's so good.
And what they did with him, the whole Bruce Timm, the whole. Yeah, I think Paul Dini wrote that.
Yeah, Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, and I'm sure there were other writers who just aren't as well known, and I don't have their names in front of them to credit them, and I apologize to them.
Yeah.
But And you know, a tip of the hat to Andrea Romano, who was the casting director and everything for that, who who found the perfect talent for every one of those roles, not just Kevin Conroy's Batman or Mark Hamill as the greatest Joker there will ever be, but you know, I mean, you know, Tara Strong and the I cannot remember the name of the guy who played Mr. Freeze. We lost him a couple of years ago. Who was a big, you know, he was a Latin star, and to have him come in and play such a flat, emotionless character was by all accounts a struggle for him, but he crushed it. Absolutely.
Michael Anzara?
And Zara. Yeah, Michael Anzara.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
But just that, you know, that whole cast, the writing, and, you know, there were some duds. You know, let's be honest, I've got Batman in my basement. Not a great episode.
Oh, yeah.
But
I think that was the episode right before that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, you know, you can't win them all. But so many of them were just incredible.
Yeah, and these intros, dude, like that Batman, like I can hear that song still in my head. Same with like Spider-Man, same especially, you know, I love X-Men. Same with the like I would love to hear that in a movie.
Let that be somebody's ringtone in the next X-Men film, please.
Oh, just for the love of God. That whole intro, and then like Wolverine doing his thing, and what was cool is when they did their little intro, their logo looked exactly like their comic book logo.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of them didn't have a comic book like Professor X and stuff, but Wolverine, Beast, you know, Gambit, they all looked like their comic book counterpart. Like it was just so good.
Yeah.
And just full costume. It was just straight up comic book, and I just love that. Like the whole Phoenix saga and all of that. Like, man, those cartoon shows were just awesome to watch in the morning, especially someone who loved just sitting down and drawing Wolverine and all those characters over and over and over again. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got.
Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Like that Pokemon and Digimon. Like you can't forget them.
Yeah, now I wasn't that much into Digimon, but Pokemon, hell yes. I forgot. I don't know what I saw up to, but we both, of course, have seen all of the, you know, the first few seasons, I guess, at least.
Yeah, I stopped after the Orange Islands. I remember that was exactly where I got off.
No, I think I kept going after that, into like the next few ones because I liked Pokemon long after I should have. But it was, yeah, man. Especially the first few seasons. Was it the Johto League or whatever? You know,
Kanto first.
Kanto, yeah, that's right. You know, silly episodes like them running into Mankey, and you know, the stuff with Charmander and all of that. Like that got me so obsessed with it because it was during that time, and I've talked about it on the show, where I was out mowing lawns with my brother at my grandparents' house, doing everything I possibly could to get this Game Boy and to get this game. And in the meantime, you know, we were done mowing the lawn, we'd be watching that and just thinking about playing that game and who we're going to run into and what's going to happen next. And oh man, we were obsessed with it. What about some Cartoon Network shows? I mean, we didn't really talk about Fox, really. I mean, we both watched The Simpsons, Family Guy a lot later in life, of course. You know, but we would be screwing up if we didn't talk about The Simpsons real fast. Like, how awesome has that show been, especially when we watched it as kids?
I never watched The Simpsons as a kid.
You never watched The Simpsons?
The first time I saw a Simpsons episode, I was 22.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding. It never looked interesting to me as a kid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my favorite episode is when, I think it's when Homer meets his mom, and it's the story of you know, just his childhood and stuff like that. And oh, it was so sad. It is so sad. You know, at the end of the episode, I think his mom passed away at that point in time. I forget, but he's just like looking up at the stars. Like that was the first moment like a cartoon was like, oh my god, that was some deep shit. And it's about his childhood and him meeting Marge and stuff like that. Oh man, I can't believe you. Those older episodes of The Simpsons, just gold. Those seasons. Nowadays it's not, but oh my god, every Sunday I'd be watching it. Family Guy's great. We watched that when we were a lot older.
I never really
South
liked
Park.
Family Guy.
Oh, you didn't like Family Guy?
Not really.
Oh.
I get it. Like this is see here's the thing. Like this is where I get into a lot of trouble when I say things like I didn't like Family Guy because everybody jumps with Family Guy's amazing. Blah blah blah. That's great. You like it. You enjoy it. It's made for you. It's not for me.
Right. Family Guy was fantastic. South Park, we've talked about South Park before. That is a pillar, I think.
Even and one way or another. Like I was off and on with South Park. I was,
right.
There would be like, this episode was great. Oh, this episode sucked. Oh, this episode was kind of cool. This episode was all right. Like
right.
it was always hit or miss with me. And then, of course, in later seasons, it did what everything did. Like they all got topical because they ran out of. I don't know if it was they ran out of interesting stories to tell or they felt.
Well, they went away from dick and fart jokes and they went towards like, let's talk about what's going on right now.
Yeah, they went to Kanye West as a gay fish jokes. Like,
oh yeah,
so they went real far.
It was still dick and fart jokes, but it was mostly like just political satire or like just what is happening this week. Like they could have an episode where something crazy happens on that week, and you're going to hear it on South Park the following week.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't have too much time left. Well, let's talk about Cartoon Network a little bit. Like, Samurai Jack is, oh my god, have you seen the new season?
I haven't, but I know the whole thing is out, so I'm gonna binge watch it.
Oh, it's beautiful. Dragon Ball Z.
Of course.
Holy shit. That's right when I was out just not watching cartoons. That's when I was maybe just watching The Simpsons and Family Guy and South Park. But that's when I was like, wait a second. Like this, it brought me back to like the X-Men the animated series where I was like, this is like a soap opera, because it was this continuous thing, this serial thing, and I was like, this, they're dying, they're getting their heads blown off, and what's gonna happen next week? And I fell well down the rabbit hole with that.
Yeah, I mean, Cartoon Network was stuff that I can't remember, and that sucks because it was the not
Cow and Chicken.
Thank you, like Cow and Chicken. Oh my god, like Ed and Eddie, all that kind of stuff. I loved Ed and Eddie. I'll still go back and watch Ed and Eddie. It's amazing. Cartoon Network for me was all the old cartoons, everything old Hanna-Barbera especially. Everything from Space Ghost to the Herculoids to Birdman to all of that stuff was amazing.
Let's see, Dexter's Laboratory,
Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls,
Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo. I want a Johnny Bravo movie. Like that would just be hysterical.
Oh yeah,
because it was.
And then of course
he was such an awful person.
Oh
he
yeah,
was terrible.
Oh yeah. And Cartoon Network's still killing it, man. They got Adventure Time. They have Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Like, if you're I imagine a lot of kids watch that. I think Rick and Morty's probably the most popular thing on their channel right now, because that's like, it's adult humor, but at the same time, it's very much it's like the next step of Adventure Time, where Adventure Time is still very much for kids.
Yeah.
This is like no, this like it's a twisted and dark version of Back to the Future. Really fucked up stuff in that, but I don't know, man. Yeah, the Cartoon Network's just that came around after the Sunday morning cartoons, right?
Yeah, it was kind of that way for me too. It was like you watched. Like when I was growing up, it was whatever was on Nickelodeon mostly, which tended to be either like Nicktoons or, cartoon-wise, they did Looney Tunes. And then, you had Cartoon Network, which started all the old cartoons. Like I know I've talked about the Tex Avery cartoons on here before. It was, it was that
Tom
stuff.
and Jerry,
Tom and
that
Jerry,
stuff too.
Droopy Dog, like all the that was the old cartoon. Thundercats,
Oh, they talked about it real fast at the Rebirth. They talked about the Looney Tune comics with like there's a comic coming out with Yosemite Sam and Jonah Hex.
Oh yeah,
and like
they're
Jonah
doing...
Hex hires Yosemite.
Yeah,
Yosemite Sam hires Jonah Hex to protect him against a weasel, and the guy's doing it in the voice. It was fantastic.
Oh my god.
I got to get some of those books.
Yeah, but I mean,
But yeah, man.
we had a hell of a run back then. We sure did. But
Yeah,
that's
and
why
we had so many other stuff. Like we didn't even mention Care Bears and Transformers, and we should probably revisit this topic.
Yeah.
And spend a lot more time on it in a few weeks or a month or so from now, because we just scratched the surface, I think.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, we'll go more into details about a lot of the stuff we didn't talk about and some of the stuff we loved. But that's going to do it for this week, man. Next week's going to be all about E3 and our predictions and what we think is going to happen. And I'm sure there's going to be some leaks and whatnot between now and then. Make sure you go. Oh, yeah, tell them about the shirt again, where they can go to get that.
Yeah, we'll put the link up on our page, because it's like teespring.com/WGP. Like, there's a whole big URL. But we tweeted it. It's on the page. It'll be in the show notes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see that, like, when it, like on Podbean or Podcast Addict or iTunes, which we hope you're subscribing and rating us on, because that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But
absolutely, yeah. So yeah, definitely go give us a review. And yeah, I mean, that's it. Yeah, like you said, go to our Facebook group, our Twitter. I'll post some pictures from MegaCon, and we'll see you guys all next week when we're talking about E3. All right, Captain.
Captain.